welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and sharing this episode with a friend. We are back with you, just like we were. It's your chance to meet with us weekly and share in our story and adventures that we're telling with you. And wow, last week was kind of interesting. So many things gained, so many things learned, so many places traveled. Into a tree, out of a tree, out into a pasture.
Into another tree.
Let's get back to the action with Sam.
Last time
On Critical Hit. Go ahead.
you guys had walked out of a tree in a swamp,
Yes.
and it is raining. This is tropical storm season, and it is just raining heavily, and it's the water is warm, and not in some ways unpleasantly so, but you are getting pretty soaked.
I need to make
pull my
haste.
coat up over my head to cover the lady.
Cool. It is somewhat slow going, because it is a swamp and it is raining, and you have Russell spots several ghosts over the course of your trip. None of them seem to they don't attack you and they don't manifest, but you see a Khaleesian here and a human in civil, and they just seem to follow you around for a while and then depart.
Okay.
And only he can see them.
Yeah, though others people start they get briefly when Russell sees ghosts, other people kind of feel them. You feel either cold or sometimes weird, almost emotional bursts. So you feel angry or sick or afraid for seemingly no reason.
I always feel angry.
Well, then you
So-
feel afraid as opposed to angry.
I got used to that earlier.
Yeah. But yeah, unless anyone has anything they want to talk about or say, you guys are going to arrive back at the Khaleesian village.
Yep, I think we just travel
just
for a
about-
while.
Yep. We've had a
Trudge.
very overwhelming couple of days.
Okay, so yeah, when there are two younger Khaleesians are kind of standing guard outside of the village in the rain, and they spot you guys coming, and first level spears at you, and then seem to recognize you and get excited and run back into the village. And you guys proceed in. The rain has actually let up a bit, and Sahar will come forward to greet, and she has a kind of wooden tray that has glasses, or again just wooden cups, each of which has fresh water in it. She will offer to you and see were you successful then?
Yeah. We were able to bring the hag down.
And she looks at the trees around her, but the light continues.
She was controlling the relic, causing it, not causing it directly herself.
And she looks at the woman you're holding and says, "Who is this?"
She...
A victim.
She nods and looks the woman over. I don't know how much I can do for her, but I can do what I can.
Well, see what you can do, but at this stage, I think a warm place to sleep and some water is about all we can really offer.
That I can provide. You've done well.
Thank you.
What will you do next?
We need to speak with the Cactus Dryad Noctly to reverse the relic. I will.
Our dealings.
I'll travel with my companions here until we are sure the swamp is safe.
And after you have undone the relic?
I believe there's one more matter we'll have to take care of to ensure the safety of our people and theirs.
What is that?
The human that is causing all of this. Needs to be stopped. Or further.
So you will remain in exile and return to their lands?
For now. I will return once I know this threat is done.
We will need to rebuild. You can return and take up the mantle as war leader, or you can stay and try to build bridges among the humans. The choice is yours.
Thank you.
Do tell me which you intend to pursue, though.
I will once I know which one.
She smiles slightly. But you are going back to the human lands for now?
Yes. My duty is not complete until Miller is gone.
Very well. Then she looks at Alder and says, our relationships with the Dryads have not always been amenable. Will you be our ambassador?
Of course. I will be happy to act as intermediary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, the hags are all gone now?
We believe so. There was...
Is there anything we can do to keep them from coming back?
I'll look to Alder.
I believe that, well, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, but I believe that I have possession of several seeds, which I believe will, if nothing else, help to provide a balance in that particular equation. And perhaps one hopes, if nothing else, fewer? So possibly yes and possibly no. If that is clear.
Not especially. What do you mean by seeds?
Dryad seeds.
Will you plant them?
That is my intention, yes.
And what sort of care will they need?
Boy, that's a good question. Do you think I know that right off the top of my head? I bet I do.
Yeah, you can make a knowledge nature check.
Ha ha! I'm gonna do the knowledge check. Booyaka, 23.
Cool.
Nice.
So I mean, you'll want someone who is very competent with plants and trees to be tending them. But one of the things that probably is most important is seeing what you saw previously is to keep any sort of corruption away from them. Like you will want to cleanse the swamp of all the ghosts.
Right.
Like
I
all
will
the dead
convey
bodies, all the ghosts, all the relics of death that are here is all going to need to go for these dryads to grow up healthy.
Right. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. The hags
Mm-hmm.
were corrupted dryads.
That is correct.
So, by replacing the dead corrupted hags with new uncorrupted hags, or rather dryads that will not turn into hags, and taking good care of them and making sure that they grow to become dryads and not hags, then all of this is good and should help to keep hags from being a problem in the future, yes?
Yeah, so you need to just
Okay.
planting this forest was or
Right.
this swamp was home to many dryads. It is currently home
Got
to no dryads, which you think is actually going to have very bad effects on the swamp eventually if they are not replaced. Basically the swamp will just diminish.
But first, we need to cleanse the swamp before we plant the dryads so as not to
Correct.
corrupt them immediately.
Yes.
Which means that dealing with Miller is a priority there. We'd want to deal with his issue before we cleanse the swamp, yes?
Yeah, cleansing the swamp is going to be probably
A
utilitarian work.
dramatic action.
With any luck, doing whatever we need to do over there may actually be part of cleansing the swamp. So yes, I'm going to convey to them in a very clear and not at all Wembley, as I have been for the last 2 or 3 episodes, manner, this information that I totally know, you guys, and didn't have to check with an omniscient person to know. So I shall pass this information to Noctley in a respectful manner.
Well, Nockley
Sahar.
isn't here.
Oh, sorry, Sahar, my bad.
She'll say, thank you. Will you help us with this?
I will.
Then you can stay in the same place as last night, and I can take her to the my tent, and it is, I think, warmer and more comfortable.
I'll gently hand her over.
She picks her up.
You
You've
I'll
done
follow.
You've done very well. The Calisians are in all of your debt.
We'll see if we can fix this yet.
Thank you. Starts heading towards her tent. Russell follows.
Yep.
Cool. She looks at Russell somewhat curiously, but doesn't say anything. And she heads into her tent.
I will follow.
Cool. She'll lay down the woman. She moves aside what looks like some, I think maybe probably some kind of deer skin rug that she sets up, and she pokes at a hearth to get it nice and warm, and lays her down and puts a blanket over her.
I will just sit and meditate near where she is resting.
As you sit down, she says, "Are you a healer? Are you praying for her?"
Praying, yes, but also here for familial support.
You are kin?
Yes.
What is your... I'm sorry, I can't really tell ages of humans.
Ah,
What is your relationship?
that would be my mother.
I see. How did your mother come to be a victim of Tlatzka?
That is a really good question that needs some answers, but it's a bit complicated, involving some society. There's a lot more questions than I have answers for, unfortunately.
She smiles slightly, and it's weird because, like I said, she's got so many teeth. And she says, "Family is always complicated."
Yes.
And as she's kind of like, she tucks, your mom into the blanket, and she starts like pulling out some like kind of assessing her and pulling out some herbal remedies and things like that. And she actually also starts looks around for some things. You think she's actually undressing your mother to get her out of like the damp clothing that she's in.
Mm-hmm.
And she like hangs up her clothes to dry. And but she seems to be like keeping her covered so that she just never, like, her skin's never exposed. You think that's mostly for warmth as opposed to any privacy concern.
Mm-hmm.
But when she finishes doing that, she comes up with a silver chain that, as she's like finishing up with the clothing. And around the chain is a man's ring, and she holds it. It says, "There's power in this."
I take it.
You also feel again like almost a coolness to it, and the ring looks, you kind of have like an instinctive sizing it up. It's like a perfect fit.
Are there any inscriptions, anything like that in the inside or outside, or is it just a plain silver band?
So it's a plain silver band, though at the like center where there might be like a stone is a yin yang.
Ah, okay. If you say it looks like a perfect fit, I'll go ahead and try it on.
Cool. So yeah, you think that this was like a male wedding band.
Mm-hmm.
But the yin yang's a little unusual. And this is also a magic item. Let me find that. It is a ring of protection +1 that also counts as a ring of key mastery.
Ooh. I have no idea what either of those does.
The ring of protection +1 adds a +1 deflection bonus to your AC, and the ring of key mastery does weird monk stuff.
Yay, monkey stuff.
And as you kind of put it on, the woman's eyes flicker briefly, and she says, "Russell?"
Yes. You should rest.
"I'm so sorry for everything I did."
It's not a good idea to dwell on the past. What's done is done. You had no knowledge that your actions then would result in us being here now, any more so than if I had stayed with you.
"No, I'm sorry for what..." He controls minds. He's going to try to control yours.
Oh, are we talking about Miller?
Yes.
He can try.
Don't underestimate him.
Is there a way to limit his influence?
I don't know. He's very powerful,
Hmm.
and his influence runs deep.
I'm sure. I'm sure he has infected or influenced many people around the country.
He knows that he failed here. I can feel it.
Hmm. Can he hear what we are saying?
I don't know how this magic works.
Well, Miller will be dealt with.
You shouldn't face him. You should run. You should go back to the monastery or go find work somewhere else. This isn't the life you should lead.
If I run, then Miller's influence only grows, and it would only be a matter of time before his power reaches California, to the monastery. And if I decide to run, again, his power can grow, and eventually there will be no place for me to run. So I think before his power becomes too great, it's time to make a stand.
She kind of smiles sadly and says, "You're just as brave as your father.
Hmm.
It got him killed."
Hmm.
And she lays her head back down and seems to drift off.
Okay. I will just continue to meditate there for a while.
Cool.
Until it's time to join the others.
Okay.
At which point Sam will type into the script, "Enter Russell Street." Hello, everyone.
Well, as for the others, is there anything you guys get up to while we're having this vigil?
Sure. I will say to the others, I do not trust this thing, so I feel we should set up shifts
Very well.
and keep an eye out.
Fair.
That seems wise.
I can take the first one. So, who should I wake up?
You can wake me up.
All right. Well, I will see you in a couple of hours then.
Sounds good.
I'll take the final watch then.
Wait, that puts me in third position. Okay. That will be fine.
You should not take a watch, as you need 8 hours of uninterrupted rest in order to regain your spells.
Yeah, that was kind of what just happened. Was like, yeah, I'll take the first one. I'll take the second one, and then it's just like, I'll take the last one.
Yeah.
By that time, I may be asleep.
Cool.
Hey Sam,
Yep.
Can I ask you about these prayer beads?
Yes.
So it says that this is a lesser one, right?
Correct. So it does the bless and the healing.
Right. It says they function as spell trigger items. So is that just like casting a spell with like the little caveat that it like does not provoke?
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically like using a wand or a staff. So.
But it's still the same. It's like a standard act, or whatever the spell description is, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like casting the spell.
Okay, cool. And okay, yeah. So the upside definitely to the blessed one would be that it doesn't eat up one of my spells for the day.
Exactly. And then the Beat of Healing has some spells that you don't have. So
Yeah, I don't think some of these are maybe not even on my list.
yeah, that's possibly true. Chema's watch passes largely uneventfully, except for that some of the Calisian kids like insist on standing watch with him.
Mhm.
And there's like a lot of being peppered with questions. It's like, who are you?
Oh, hello, I am Chema.
What's a Chema?
Oh, that is my name. Well, it is my war name, as it were.
Like, why don't you have a war mask?
Oh, because the way that I fight, it is important for the people that I protect to know who I am and to be able to see my face and to hold me accountable for any wrongdoing I could potentially do.
So are you a war chief?
I am more of a peacekeeper.
I see. You must be very strong.
I have certain strengths which I try to leverage against those that would hurt the innocent.
Where do you live?
I live far south from here in a place called Mexico City.
Is it bigger than this? They like
It is
gesture to
the village, yeah.
Yeah.
It is somewhat larger than your village.
Wow. Is it hot?
It can be, but it is actually up in the mountains, so the majority of the year it is actually pleasant.
Like mountains. I don't know that word.
Well, sometimes the earth is very flat and sometimes the earth goes up like a hill. So these are very large hills.
Huh. I want to see mountains.
Well, Oh, go ahead.
So yeah, they're basically gonna just try to like get you to tell them stories like throughout your whole watch.
Yep, I'll do that while also trying to, keep an actual watch.
Cool. Yeah, you do not see anything out of the ordinary during your watch except for lots of curious lizards.
Okay. Wait, by that do you mean lizards that are filled with curiosity or particularly strange-looking lizards?
I mean, there's a little bit of both, actually.
Okay.
Like there are definitely like a lot of lizards that live in the swamp, and some of them are types that Chema has just never seen before.
Cool. And that's where my new point of knowledge nature comes from.
Haha. It's all lizard identification.
Yep.
Cool. So your watch otherwise passes uneventfully.
Okay, I'll wake up the hanging judge.
Cool.
This is going to be more entertaining.
So, there seems to be a like when you go to wake up the hanging judge, some of the kids scatter. But when the hanging judge comes back out, I mean, I guess you didn't see the crowd that had gathered around Chema, but you're pretty sure like every kid that is under the age of, well, you're not exactly sure what lizard adulthood is, but there's like a lot of young lizards that have gathered to hang out with you.
Okay.
And these guys, like Azad, the young one that you met, that is Sahar's son, is there to the most notable one. But there's a lot of the ones you saw walking around with the Oak Man, and then there are also a group that have like they seem to just be starting to get some feathers. So you would think that these are maybe young females. and they are just like staring at you when you come out.
Kind of nod to the group and find a comfortable place to sit or lean. So keep an eye out for danger.
They're just watching you. And that Izad comes out and says, "Why are you still wearing your war mask?"
It is my custom.
When do you take it off?
When there is not need for battle.
Do you take it off to eat?
I do.
Do you want food?
I am not hungry at this time.
Do you want a drink?
No, I do thank you for the offer, though.
You sure? I got some. What is it? What did you guys steal? I think they like say something that like you're still under the influence of the translation weirdness, and so it like seems to you think it's swamp juice is what you hear, but you're pretty sure that's some kind of alcohol.
I think it would be best if I declined. I do need to keep my senses sharp.
What are you watching out for?
Trouble?
What kind of trouble?
Hard telling these days. For the most part, I'm just making sure that nothing nefarious comes to cause problems here.
So one of the Colossians is like, "So, did you make the mask yourself?"
No, I found it.
Really?
Yes.
Did you find it off a fallen warrior?
Not so much. I found it during a street fair.
What's that?
When there's people celebrating and merchants have stalls for their wares.
What's a merchant?
People that sell and manufacture goods.
Manufacture?
Create, build, and make.
Oh, like crafters.
Yes.
Wait, so a crafter made your war mask?
Yes.
And so why don't your other friends wear war masks?
It's apparently not their style.
And how long have you been wearing this war mask?
It's been a little while. A couple years. Now that I think on it, Eshin kind of wears a mask.
What do you mean?
In order to not cause alarm in his trial, he disguised himself.
They there's some whispering among them. So what kind of warrior are you?
I am one that tends to rely on stealth and agility to take my foes off guard.
So one of them is asked, so are your whole tribe warriors?
No.
Nope. Are your parents warriors?
No.
So how did you become a warrior?
I decided some things needed fighting for.
So what do you fight for?
The common man.
The what?
Those that are unable to fight for themselves.
Oh. So you're like a nest guardian?
I think that's fairly accurate.
Like one of the a few of the boys nod. They're like, that's a honorable goal.
I try to do what I can.
But your nest isn't here.
It is not.
So why are you here? Shouldn't you be with your nest?
The current events are a hazard to my nest. So I am going where my help can hopefully be of best use.
So who's watching your nest?
At this time, I would say the official nest watchers.
Wait, so you're an unofficial nest watcher?
Yes.
So I'm so confused. Like they start like talking. It's like, well, like Sand wouldn't like stand for that if someone was just standing around the nest and being like, I'm a nest watcher now.
Our customs are different.
So you were like initiated or?
No. I am not in any official capacity. I basically appointed myself, and it is not without debate.
So why didn't you just ask to be a nest watcher?
Because those who would need to be asked are the ones that are the most problem to my nest.
Wait, what? Like you're bad nest watchers? Like, are they lazy?
Corrupted?
Like evil?
Perhaps in a manner of speaking.
That's terrible.
Yes.
Wait. So you came here and you left the corrupted nest watchers with the nest?
Well, they're mainly concerned with maintaining the status quo, so things shouldn't get worse in my absence. But once I get back, I will have to, once again, continue trying to make things right.
What status quo?
The day-to-day normalcy?
Like farming?
Kind of. It's the way that the society is. It's forward momentum.
I don't think I understand what you're trying to say.
Trying to think. So basically, the path that our society is going down, in a way of speaking, if that makes sense.
Oh, so you want to challenge your chief to take the tribe somewhere else?
Yes.
Oh, so when are you going to do that?
Once I am able to confront the chief.
Oh, when you get stronger?
Yes. And also when I can confront him on an even level.
Chiefs usually don't let themselves be confronted on an even level. They have the whole tribe.
That is the issue, and I am trying to work my way through the tribe, or at least those that oppose me.
So, how many people are in the tribe?
It is a good number. It's hard saying.
And how many allies do you have?
Not many.
That seems like it's going to be tough.
It is, and that is why it is a difficult path to negotiate.
So, how are you going to get more people on your side?
Hopefully, those that see the good work I'm doing will decide to help me and fight for their own betterment.
So, but you're doing it in secret?
I would say that not all my actions are entirely secret.
So, how do you keep the chief from just, I don't know, kicking you out?
Well, that is part of the reason why the mask.
So, you use the mask to keep the chief from knowing who you are. But then, how do you get the people to know they should fight for you?
I mainly want them to fight for themselves.
Wait, so you want to take down the chief, but you don't want to be the chief?
No.
So who's going to be the chief after you take down the chief?
Hopefully someone who's of a better mind.
You don't have, like, anyone in mind?
There's several good members of our community who would be good candidates.
So, like, one of the female Calicians, like, sits down next to you and is like, okay, you sound like you don't know what you're doing.
I suppose.
You should pick the next chief. And, well, you should. Do you have a mate?
No.
Well, obviously that's why you're so bad at this.
Very possibly.
So you need to get a mate who will do your plotting for you. And then you need to pick the next chief or be the next chief. Why don't you just be the next chief? You look scary.
Well, the chiefs in our societies don't tend to be warriors.
What? That's stupid.
Yes.
What are they if they're not warriors?
Leaders, tacticians, strategists.
So warriors.
I suppose, but they don't tend to fight themselves.
Right, so they just, like, what, make plans and then send people out to do them? That's stupid.
Yes, I agree.
So do better.
That's what I'm working towards.
Okay. So why don't you just tell them that that's stupid and that you should be the chief because you're strong? And, I don't know, get someone else to come up with your tactical ideas.
Well, it is tried. But the people in charge have a lot of sway over those who would oppose me.
Okay. Like, what do you mean by sway?
Generally, monetary power.
I don't know what that word means.
Money. It's how we determine the cost of goods and services.
What?
In our society, work is compensated and with money. And the people in charge hold all this money. And so they tend to use that money to get their way.
That's stupid. You should just go take the money.
Well, that is also part of my plans, but unfortunately they don't keep the money all in one place, so it's hard to get it all.
Like a few of them nod. It's like, okay, so you need to go on a stealth mission, find the money, then steal it.
That's very much what I do.
So you're a scout
Right.
/ warrior.
I'd say that'd be accurate.
Okay. You're weird.
I've been told this before.
All right. You should find a mate and a chief and where they're keeping the money and beat up your bad chief and then become the chief or make the other person your chief or whatever. They like consult among themselves and get rid of money. Money's stupid. Get rid of that. That's stupid. People should just like eat what they hunt or they farm, unless like is it because are they sick? Is that why they need someone to give them stuff?
Not really. It's a complicated system.
They shake their heads. And around that time, the older-looking Calician comes out, holding like he's got a walking stick, and he's like, "Seriously, all of you are all out? Get out of here! Stop bothering them!" And the kids all scatter.
Appreciated.
He sort of nods to you and shakes his head and walks back to one of his tents.
Find a good perch and wait out the rest of my watch here.
Cool. The rest of your watch passes uneventfully.
Good. Now I go and wake up whoever it was.
Believe Eshin was going to be the last watch.
Eshin.
Okay. I'll go take my post.
When you go to wake Eshin up, actually, Dawn, who had been sleeping on top of Alder, gets up and like runs off.
I assume she's probably fine on her own? I don't know, Eshin, maybe you want to have someone follow her?
Yeah. They can do that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get some rest.
I assume there are still young Calicians here.
Yeah, they're hiding. They start poking out like their heads when the watch shifts.
Is Azad among them?
Yeah.
Azad.
Yes?
Did you see my compatriot's dog?
Yes?
Can you go follow her? Make sure she's not going to have problems in a unfamiliar area?
Can I eat her?
No.
Okay.
If you try, she might eat you.
No eating the dog.
She doesn't look like...
Shh, you're
Is
asleep.
that scary? He like hefts his spear slightly.
You haven't seen her in combat.
So what? She's like a war gator?
More or less.
It's awful fluffy for a war gator.
Well, they're awful fluffy for warriors.
It's true.
Hey.
You're asleep.
He like laughs and like goes, "Fluffy warriors," and goes off into the outskirts of the village looking for Dawn.
This will take up the post.
Cool. The As you're sitting there, Saman actually comes out, and again, basically, the kids kind of scatter when he shows up. And he kind of sits down next to you and holds out a cask of some liquid.
I'll accept and take a drink.
Yeah, it's a potent alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
So you did it?
She is no more.
So what's next?
Dealing with the humans that caused it.
You got your human friends are going to help you deal with humans?
They're causing as much, the ones causing problems are causing as much problems for them as they are for us.
Never understood their politics. They always seem to kill each other as much as they kill us, but I think it's probably because they're a lot easier to find and there's more of them.
Probably.
Your friend promised Zila a good story. Was it a good story?
I believe it will be.
Good.
I also don't think the story's over yet.
Maybe your friend can tell it all when you come back.
I'm sure he will.
They're a weird group you've got.
Yeah.
Even for humans.
Like you said, human politics rather different from us.
What are you guys watching for anyways?
Just the off chance that one of the other humans may come to find out what happened to the hag.
I'd say that should be our job, but we're in a pretty sorry state right now. But, you had a battle. You just go rest. I can keep this watch for you.
If you're certain.
No, I'm certain.
All right. Guess I'll head back in.
Cool.
Probably sit until others start to stir.
So yeah, the rest of the evening passes uneventfully, and around the time that morning comes, Izad comes back, which is like, it's been hours, and he's like out of breath. He's like, I found the stupid dog. You should really have let me eat her. And she is trailing behind him, wagging her tail. And I imagine Alder is one of the last people to wake up usually, because I just tend to always think of arcane spellcasters as deep sleepers. So she jumps onto Alder and drops onto him something disgusting. So Alder wakes up to the feeling of like some kind of slimy ball-shaped thing dropping on him.
Yes, what is it?
Oh, so it's that prickly pear that Dawn had been playing with. You have you had been certain that thing was lost in the desert. You had no idea how she got it back. But now it is almost entirely rotted. It's like black and moldering. And there's just like this tiniest speck of the pink that it used to be.
So Does it seem like something important or just something she dropped because she's bored?
No, that thing seems important.
I shall utilize the full force of my just waking up brain of magic brainery in the brain and see what does it mean.
Yeah, make a knowledge nature check.
Knowledge in nature. You know, every time we stop playing, I literally forget how character sheets work. Which doesn't make any sense. I mean...
Your knowledge nature is roll a d20 plus 8.
Thank you.
No problem. That's why I keep yours up.
Wow. Burn.
Now, wait a minute. Stop laughing, Rasmussen. That is not cool. 17. I'm sad.
So you think that is certainly Dawn's in some way trying to communicate with you, and effectively an omen that Noctli is out of time.
That is not good. And Dawn just sitting there being a dog, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Can't ask her any questions.
Not really.
Really? Were we heading back towards the swamp, or did we
You are in the swamp. You had previously discussed going back to the prickly pear forest to try to do the cleansing ritual.
This seemed like it's now or never, or it's just flat out too late.
It's now or never.
All right. Then I believe I shall let my compatriots know. Everyone, I need you to come look at this.
Yes.
What is it?
It's a prickly pear. I believe we need to return to the cactus forest immediately.
You don't have time to get to the cactus forest. You need to just do the ritual now.
We need to do the ritual now here.
Okay.
Do we have everything that's needed?
I mean, you're kind of making some of this up. You have Chema theorized that you needed the artifact and someone who is rich in life essence, which you have in Alder, theoretically. And you had theorized that a place of power would help, or Noctli could help, but you're not really sure what's needed. But I will, allow people to make some kind of skill checks for ideas or...
Is Azad still in the room?
Yeah, he's kind of glaring, actually hungrily at Dawn.
Azad, go get your mother.
Oh, okay.
Now.
Yeah, okay. He runs off. And a not too long later, he comes back with Sahar, and she's like, I was coming to reach you. I'm afraid you're the woman I'm taking care of. She looks kind of pointedly at Russell. I don't think she has much time.
Okay.
What do you need from me?
Alder?
Mm-hmm.
My aunt here is our all-around knowledge in this area. She might be able to help you out. What can you tell her?
I'm not even certain. We think we can fabricate a ritual that should reverse or at least release the effect of the blight. But Chema, have we any concrete idea of what we want to do?
No. We're going to invent a brand new purification ritual right here and apparently right now. So I would start gathering whatever herbs you think would be helpful.
Well, let me see what I already have. And Dollar begins emptying all of his pouches.
Oh,
Cool.
yes. Also, you might want to prepare something for fast coagulation.
That I can do as well.
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of herbs that are associated with purification that you carry around on you regardless. Sage is super common in the area, and so you have some of that, along with lavender and peppermint.
And tequila. Tequila is good for the... Wait, that's probably a different type of purification ritual. So I do have that. Or the agave, at least.
So basically, everyone can make me a knowledge skill of something they find relevant of their choice, or to assist in some way, or for that matter, like other skills. If you can make me a justification for it, and tell me what you are doing to conduct this ritual.
All right, so I'm gonna take the lead, and I'm gonna try to find a clear space. Put the artifact sort of in the middle. See if we can actually bring out the that lady that was with it.
Sure.
And I'm going to basically try to start making circles around it. And I'll try to basically create a channel so that blood can flow to it. And, throw some cool glyphs in.
Cool glyphs are awesome.
Yeah, like a skull and a monkey.
Mm-hmm. An M with a lightning bolt coming off of the top.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to glyph it up.
Why don't you roll me a knowledge religion check? And you can also throw in, from some of the blood stuff you were talking about, a heal check.
Okay, so here's my knowledge religion first. That's a 19.
Sweet.
And then my heal check is that.
Both great. So yeah, you have you're able to help the they bring the Lynn, the woman who had come with the artifact, effectively out on a pallet. And your healing can tell, like, she has gotten substantially worse overnight. It's the same feeling that she doesn't have any obvious injuries. The life is just literally being drained out of her. And you try to position the artifact between, you're going to want to have Alder holding and, in fact, bleeding over this artifact. But you're going to want her to be very close by so that she can receive a burst of this life energy to save her. And then after that, you're kind of fudging it with a classic fusion of the stuff that you were taught in church and the stuff that you weren't supposed to learn from church.
Yep. Syncretize, go.
Yep.
All right. Well, at that point, then, clearly I got to do something. So, trying to decide whether it would be a spellcraft or an herbalist.
Which one's better?
I'll let you do both.
Ooh, okay. So, for the herbalist, which is not an arbalist, which is a different character that I played. For the herbalist, I'm going to gather some yarrow from one of my pouches. Yarrow is good for clotting factors, and yarrow is good for helping to seal up bleeding wounds. And I'm basically going to chew some of that up and spit it into a little pestle-y thing, so that it's kind of a simple remedy of, saliva. So that's a thing that might actually work. And then for the spellcraft, I'm going to attempt to channel all of the things that that I learned from being only I'm only half Druish. So and do that to the thing, so that we're continuing to use the gathered herbs for the mystic side of it thing. It's going to look really awesome.
Sweet.
Okay.
Roll it.
So I am first rolling herbalism, which is a 14.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little on the low side. Spellcraft, however, is a 28.
Okay. So you're not entirely sure about the herbs you mixed. They're mixed. They would certainly make a lovely fragrant tea. You're not sure about how much arcane properties they're actually going to have, but you're pretty confident in this ritual. This is what you're going to basically want to do is use your own life and, for that matter, your own magic to fuel this. You're going to try to push it back into balance, and that is going to require a serious act of will, and possibly a lot of pain on your part, but you feel confident that you know how to do that.
Excellent. I am prepared to do that. Probably ought to cut something.
I can do that.
That's Eshin's contribution to the ritual, stabbing alder.
I know how to bleed
alder.
things.
It in such a manner that it's not fatal. Perhaps just a cut in an area that would not, hinder me should we have to, I don't know, fight something or cast spells, or I don't know, maybe the back of an arm.
Sure.
That may not be the best place to bleed from, now that I think of it. What would be a good place to bleed that would not leave me inundated or incapacitated, or other words that start with N and end with ated?
I'd be able to make a survival check to
Yes, you can.
Ooh.
It's a 15.
That's good. That's good enough. So I mean, you
That
know
probably
how to
won't kill me. Maybe.
So it's a little bit awkward, because what your mind comes to is like, well, when you're, hunting and you've killed an animal, you don't want it to like bleed all over its meat. So you cut it in a certain way to get it to bleed outwards. And it's like, you think that part of the reason that you don't want it to bleed on its meat is maybe disease or taste, but you're thinking that bleeding outward might also be, in this case, more effective / healthier for alder.
Okay.
So what are the hanging judge and Russell doing?
I'm gonna direct Russell to support his mom. If you stand with her and, I don't know, try to balance her somehow. That is what we are trying to accomplish here.
So I have to make a dramatic leap over to where she's at using acrobatics?
No,
darn.
that is not.
You took mine.
Yeah, definitely no dramatic leaping. None of that.
Well, I mean,
You can make just like just give me a d20 roll if you are like do you have any knowledge skills or any social skills?
no.
Okay, then just
I'm looking. No, I was thinking if there was some way to. I didn't know if there was something that needed to be built.
A proper altar.
Like a proper
Can you
altar
make
for
a
this.
rudimentary lathe?
why don't you just make me roll a d20 and add your monk level?
All right.
Monks used to have
17?
concentration in class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17.
Cool.
So I do some monkey stuff.
So yeah,
Cool,
basically, this is. You can almost feel the ghostly energy here. It's palpable, as if there's an affinity between you and your mother, and you can have a feeling that her energy, she's too close. It's like when you were looking at yourself previously when you were cursed, and now you can almost even see the curse that's still lingering on you. That even though you haven't had the ill effects of it in a while, and it is just much deeper into her. And you focus on that, and in the same way that you would spend, you've been trained as a monk to alter your chi and your breathing and the way your body moves, you start going through some katas, and you feel the ability to almost manipulate the necromantic energies that are in the both of you. And you feel like you need to just pull some of the imbalance from her into yourself as you're healthier and better able to bear it.
Okay. I can do that.
Cool. Hanging Judge.
Can I use sense motive to kind of fill out the temperature of the room as this goes on, and to basically participate where I can, to keep the rhythm or momentum going and not try to disrupt anything?
Yeah, why don't you roll it?
Okay.
I roll sitting in the corner being quiet not to mess up this spell.
Ooh, he's got a +5 on that.
17?
So actually what you're going to want to be doing with sense motive is making sure, like, you can tell everyone there's a lot of magic being thrown around, and this is uncharted territory, and people are going to be pushing themselves, and you should probably just make sure no one pushes themselves too hard. Like, you're basically going to be the stopper here, and to make sure that no one gets so into the ritual that, like, Alder starts bleeding out.
I see. Okay.
So everything is set up. What do you do?
I will step into the center and look at everyone to sort of get the okay from everyone. Once I get that from everyone, I will take the stick that I was using to draw the circles and point it up at the sky and say, "Listen, you gods of the heavens and of the world below. We hereby create this ritual to appease and to balance your world. By the power of the blood, by the power of obsidian, by the power of life, we invoke Chimalma and return this blood to the ground, and in so doing, purify and reconstitute your essence and your power." And I'll point at Ishan to stab Alder.
Stab.
Cool. So yeah, you stab Alder. It's actually right on. It's a place that is close to an artery, but not actually the artery. It requires a fair bit of precision to get there. And he bleeds. And Alder, what are you doing as you have been stabbed?
Boy, I want to say the Sheen hand gesture, which looks an awful lot like that thing that Leonard Nimoy used to do. I should probably. I'm trying to think. I've never actually had any type of verbal type component to any of my spells, so there's no reason to start that now. I shall crush some essence of something in my hands as I bleed and try not to, show that it hurts because I've just been stabbed near an artery.
Oh, it hurts a lot.
Yes, it hurts a great deal.
Want to make a bluff check?
Yeah, I'm good at those. There's nothing about Alder that is not perfectly obvious. We learned to bluff well in South Carolina. Okay.
He's just going to ride that one all the way to the end of the game.
Yes.
I honestly am just really looking forward to this post-game recap where I can ask you where the hell that Y accent came from.
South Carolina. It's
He's just all the way through. You'll never get
that's
it out
a
of
nat
him.
20, baby.
Nice.
Wow. All right. So you do this with impressive resiliency. As far as everyone you can tell, people wonder if this is even working. But you feel the strain as you pour your blood runs over the statue, and you can almost feel it drinking your blood. The statue does not become covered in blood; it just seems to just drink it. And you can also feel it drinking your magic. And it does this for some time, and you start to feel woozy and dizzy, and almost at the last point where the hanging judge feels like he might have to intervene. The Dawn comes over and just puts her head against your other hand, the one that's not bleeding, and you feel like a little burst of strength from her. And then the bleeding stops, and it starts to rain.
I take some of the prepared herbs and apply them to my wound to keep it closed, theoretically.
Cool.
I should probably take my claw out of that, shouldn't I?
Just holding that open with 2 claws. That's just rude.
You have been drained of, we'll call it 6 levels worth of spell slots.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How many
Well,
would that be?
It was a thirsty artifact.
Yes. Forever?
For now.
Oh my god, what will I do without my magic?
Be a sorcerer, and that won't even matter.
Pew, pew, pew.
And it starts to rain, and Sahar, who's been sort of standing back and watching this, looks down at Lynn and kind of presses her head close by and nods and says, "The sleep is restorative now. She will live."
Good.
I'll walk over to the item or the artifact. Pick it up.
It feels warm, but surprisingly not bloody, not sticky.
I'm going to look around and see if there are any, creepy birds or shimmers in the air or anything like that.
Oh yeah, as you actually look around, make me a perception check.
15.
Okay. Well, so what you see is like the more obvious things, which is as it's starting to rain, you're like, oh, creepy birds, and it's like, no, those are just like geese, like some, or these are just migratory birds that they've come down a little early for the season. These are not geese actually. Those aren't from the region.
Herons.
Heron. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So yeah, the herons have come down, and there's like a ton of them, and they like fly in and start landing. And as the herons start landing, it starts to rain, and you can just see like the kind of sickly water that had been here, that had been standing. Even though it had just rained yesterday, it seemed like nothing could get clean around here. It's just washing it away. And the herons are starting to like roost in the water, and then some we'll call it one of the Beta rushes out and with a net and just like nets like 3 herons. I was like, all right, that's the first good meal we've had in a while.
Congratulations! It looked like it worked.
Yes.
I'll carry my mom back into the hut,
Cool.
so she's not wet.
She seems deep asleep.
I'll go back out and rejoin everyone else.
Star actually has told everyone to gather into her tent to get out of the rain a bit. Though there seems to be some activity as like a bunch of the young Calicians are trying to gather up herons and get some dinner on.
I would say geese would work too.
Do geese make it this far south?
Yep.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. In fact, the central flyway ends basically exactly where we're at.
Fantastic. Geese and herons, all sorts of birds for everyone.
Yay, birds.
But yeah, then so she, once you guys are all kind of out of the rain, Sahar says, so Eshin, have you decided what you're going to do?
Well, immediately we're heading back to confront... Is it Miller?
Yep.
Let's confront Miller and prevent the corruption from being restored at this point, I guess.
From returning?
From returning? Miller is still a threat to our lands.
And what will you do after?
It will depend on how this goes.
Well, if you are victorious.
That's part of it.
What will you do after?
I will measure my options at that point.
You should look further into the future, Eshin. Your short-sightedness has been a problem for you in the past.
I have ideas that require some knowledge that I cannot obtain until Miller is fully dealt with.
That's not what she's asking. She's She wants to know if you are going to keep the, is it Terror Bird sash and the Trident of Authority and come back here and pick up from there.
She nods. Your friend is wise.
I am. It's on my sheet. I'm sorry.
That's your one.
I will return with the aforementioned items.
Do you intend to keep them or to return them and name someone to replace you? Leadership is about making hard decisions. This is just the first.
I understand. That is a decision that I am unable to make currently. I have some thoughts on it that I need to this experience to understand.
Well, he doesn't crave power. That is, I suppose, a good trait in a leader.
She smiles slightly, just showing a little bit of terrifying teeth. Says, well, be certain to return. Beta will be very pleased, and our tribe must be rebuilt.
Certainly.
She looks at Chema is like, you can explain that to him too, right?
I think he knows. He is just young and he has been stabbed and set on fire. It's been a tough time for him, but he'll figure it out. I'm gonna assume he's young.
She nods. Good. Then do what you must. We will be waiting.
All right.
How far away are we from Redemption?
So you guys left your horses at the prickly pear forest in Perdition.
Yeah.
So that's going to be like a trek of maybe a day and a half in the swamp to get there.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I just I figured we all actually need a rest after that, or definitely Alder's gonna need a rest after that. So I was like, well, if we just end up taking 3 steps and we're back in Redemption, then we're not gonna be ready for that. But we can camp out.
Cool. Yeah. So as you guys go through the swamp again, the rain is fairly constant, though, with Eshin's survival abilities. He can find you shelter fairly easily. And things are definitely much improved. You see a lot more birds, a lot more small rodents, a lot more reptiles. The water is clearer. Plants seem to be sort of sprouting back up that are just drinking in the rain.
Oh, sounds excellent. Sounds like a great place to stop this week. Gone through a lot.
We're stopping on a high note?
We are, for a change, right? I mean,
that's like 3 episodes out of 400.
The sun is sunnier, the flowers are flowier, the leeches that were in the swamp are leechier.
You've been on a roller coaster.
Yeah. But thank you, everyone, for downloading and listening to this episode of Critical Hit, and we will be back next time. And until then, here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits. Take care.
This podcast is copyright 2017 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.